Dying, Christ destroyed our death. Rising, Christ restored our life. Christ will come again in glory. As in baptism taste put on Christ, so in Christ may taste be clothed with glory. Here and now, dear friends, we are God's children. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Those who have this hope purify themselves as Christ is pure. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and I am life. And those who believe in me, even though they die, yet shall they live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. And I hold the keys of hell and death. Because I live, you shall live also. We've gathered here this afternoon to praise God and to witness to our faith as we celebrate the life of Taste George Sterrenberg II. We come together in grief, acknowledging our human loss. May God grant us grace that in pain we may find comfort, in sorrow, hope, in death, resurrection. Let us pray. The Lord be with you. Almighty God, fountain of life, you are our refuge. You are our strength. You are also our help in times of trouble. And today is such a day that we need your help and we need your strength. Father in heaven, it is from you whom we come, and unto you our spirits return. You are our dwelling place. So we place our trust in you. Lift our eyes from the shadows of this earth and help us to see the light of eternity in you today. Enable us to put our trust in you so that we might obtain mercy and comfort in this time of grief. Help us to find grace to help us in this time of need through Jesus Christ. Amen. Would you stand and join with me on page 217 as we sing Away in a Manger? Today we honor him as we sing each one of these carols. We're reading from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 13a. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What gain have the workers from their toil? I have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with. He has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into their minds. Yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it is God's gift. These are the words of the Lord. It is interesting that several thousand years ago, a man named Solomon penned these words that are so appropriate for us today. For everything, there is a season, a time to be born and a time to die. In an instant, in one short sentence, Solomon expressed just how fragile life really is. He also makes clear that there is an appointed time for everything. Although there is a time to mourn, if we understand death from God's perspective, then we will find that a time will come when we can dance again. Life is a long, arduous race. It's not a dash, but it is a marathon. And the reason that we always seem to look backward is because we see death from a strictly human perspective and not a divine one. If we looked at death from God's perspective, we would see death as a beginning. Our work at death is finished. It's not a sad time, but it is a joyous time. All the hard work, the long days, the stresses, the complexities of life are finished, and we have entered into days of rest. We rejoice at times of birth, and we cry at times of death. Our hearts soar at times of dancing. They sink in times of mourning. Our prayer is that God will give us comfort this day and remind us that all of the cycles of nature are under his control. We also ask God to turn our grief into gratitude as we give thanks for Case's life, the life of a friend, the life of a family member, and we want to celebrate his passing into life everlasting. As this passage from Ecclesiastes was read, we were reminded that life is a mixture of good and bad, love, hatred, joy, sorrow, life, and death. And things seems to go well for us at one moment, and then somehow, in the next moment, it's matched by an equal amount of misfortune. And if this is all that there was to life, it would definitely seem like an unending roller coaster. However, in that very same chapter, if I were reading from the King James Version, we find these words: God has made everything beautiful in its time. He has put eternity in their hearts. And I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken away. The promise that we hold on to today is that God makes everything beautiful in its time. So today is a time of remembering. Yet memorial services are bittersweet because you've lost a loved one, and they are also sweet because you have so many memories that you can share. And I'm thankful that God has made us with the capacity to remember. So think of the good times, the funny times, the experiences, and yes, the bad times too. And in your remembering, you will continually celebrate Case's life. Today is also a day of comfort. It's a day of comfort because Jesus said, I will never leave you or forsake you. I go to prepare a place for you, and I will return to take you with me if you believe in me. Even in the midst of death, if we believe in him, he will never leave us. He will never forsake us. And that, folks, is encouraging news. He who faced death himself and conquered it will never leave us. You see, that's the Easter message. The tomb where they laid Jesus is empty, and there is no one there. And the scripture tells us that if we believe in him, we will be raised also. And that is certainly a thought of comfort. This afternoon we acknowledge that Case has experienced all the seasons of life. He built memory upon memory. He lived life fully. He loved, and he was loved. One of Case's favorite sayings was, "I know a man." Whenever he would set out to make something happen, beyond his immediate control, he would call on someone who had the power to make it happen. Hence, I know a man. Case loved to make things happen for others. And what I want to share with you today is, I know a man. And you know the same man. And when tears flow uncontrollably, I know a man who wipes away every tear and who promises a hope of a future place where there will be no more crying, no more illness, no more dying. When loneliness hides all hope and your heart is breaking, I know a man who promises that he will never leave you. He promises to never forsake you. And when confusion blurs your ability to think clearly, to know what you need, when you feel paralyzed, I know a man who will be everything that you need. And he can make the blind see, and he makes the lame to walk. When your emotions, when your sadness, your grief are raging, I know a man who can calm the storm. I know a man who can feed the hungry, empty soul, who can give living waters to the thirsty, and who can clothe the naked. You know the same man. His name is Jesus. And he loves you. And he knows your grief. And he will carry you when you can no longer stand. He will strengthen you. He will fill your heart with joy. And he will heal your broken spirit. I know a man. And for the gift of this man, Jesus, thanks be to God. I also know another man for the gift of Case's life. Thanks be to God. Amen. Would you stand and join with me on 239 as we sing Silent Night? Today we remember case George Sterrenberg II, 64, of Chicago, formerly of Piper City, Illinois. Died Monday, November 28, 2016 at his home following an unexpected illness. Case was born on October 28, 1952 in Fairbury, Illinois, to Case George and Roberta Wilson Sterrenberg. He graduated from Piper City High School in 1970. Case received a degree in business administration at Western Illinois University in 1974. He is survived by his mother, Roberta, Piper City, two sisters, Kathy Renilla and her husband, John, of Garland, Texas, and Leanne Sterrenberg of Rockford, Illinois. Niece and nephew, Amanda and Nicholas Mailer of Wiley, Texas. Two aunts, Jean Green of Pennsylvania and Gloria Sterrenberg of Texas. One uncle, Horace Singh of Windsor, Illinois. Numerous cousins. Case was preceded in death by his father. He was a member of the United Methodist Church here in Piper City. Case spent his adult career in the food and beverage industry in the Chicago area. At the time of his death, he was employed at the Gibson Steakhouse in Rosemont. Case was a member of TKE, and I cannot tell you if that was Theta Kappa Epsilon? Tau Kappa. Okay, somebody tell me what it is. Oh, Tau, okay. I was taking a wild guess here. Okay, fraternity at Western Illinois University. And he enjoyed all sports, especially the White Sox baseball. As a boy, Case delivered the pantograph accompanied by Holly the dog. Now, I've heard lots of stories, and I'm hoping I'm going to relate some of these correctly. But Holly the dog would accompany Case, and he was very protective of Case. At one of Case's regular deliveries, he would stop and he'd have a donut, and certain folks would try to attempt to enter the same establishment where he was, and Holly would not allow it. In fact, without naming anyone, Holly wouldn't let the mayor out of his car when Case was having his treat for his customer. He played in the band. He played cowboy songs on the piano. Leanne had little appreciation for his musical talents. She really found him to be quite annoying. But really, that's what brothers are supposed to be, isn't it? He played taps for funerals. He never, ever knew a stranger. He had a fantastic memory, even to a fault. Hence, he was rarely wrong about anything. You could ask him, he would tell you. So you guessed it, his never being wrong was annoying. He was quite a sports fanatic. The White Sox was his team. Now, I'm going to share a secret with you. Sometimes he was also a little bit ornery. You never knew that, right? But he would wear his White Sox fan wear in Cubs territory. Really? So I guess I would say that he was also daring. He knew a man, Jerry Reestorff, to be specific, who was the owner of the Bulls and the White Sox, and Jerry made it possible for Case to have the honor of throwing out the first pitch of the season one year. Jerry later had lunch with Case, presenting him with that very ball that he pitched out. Case was a dedicated and faithful employee. He worked at Yaxie's for 13 years, and most recently at Gibson Steakhouse in Rosemont. He was there for the past 10 years. He was accomplished and recognized in the food and beverage industry. Family was important to him. In 2005, and I know I'm not going to get all the details right with this, but in 2005, he and Roberta embarked on a baseball trip that took them from Chicago to the Hall of Fame, out east to Boston, Ground Zero in New York City, Statue of Liberty, Pittsburgh, 7 ball games in all, with other family members also participating. Is that right? Yes. And over the last few years, Case regularly got tickets to the White Sox games and was accompanied by his mother, Roberta, and sometimes good friend, I think, Betty, also accompanied Betty Kemnitz. He knew a man. And over the years, Case brought a lot of joy to many folks. He did a lot for other people, and he had a great heart. And he cherished his fraternity brothers over these years. And oh, by the way, he was notorious for surfing the net on his phone, making you think he wasn't hearing a word you were saying. And then out of nowhere, he would hit you with a real zinger. annoying. He was independent. He was opinionated. He loved life, and he did it his way. And we are blessed to have had him for 64 years. Dan Brown, who is a close friend, has some thoughts that he would like to share with us this day, and so I invite you to come and if you would step to that. Speaker, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Brown, and I grew up here in Piper City. I actually knew Tace's mom and dad from working at the local gas station here in town, Hitchens, and I did not know of our Tace here at that time at all. Well, I moved to Chicago probably 25 years ago, and early in that move, I was at a Sox game, the other baseball team in Chicago, and I ran into Tace Sr. walking down the corridor, and I walked up to him, and I'm like, Tace, you know, what are you doing here? You got to be careful. This is a rough neighborhood. And he's like, Danny, don't worry about it. I've been coming here for years. He goes, hey, my boy works out at Wrigley. Why don't you go out and meet him and say hello? And I'm like, okay, I will. So I set out to meet Tace at Yahtzee's. And, well, it took a couple tries because the first time I went in, the staff found out that I was from Piper City there to meet Tace, and, well, they took really good care of me. So yeah, the second time was much more painful. So as time went on, I would go and see Tace quite often. And one day he asked me, he's like, you know, you want to work the door here? And I said, sure. And then after a few years working the door with him, I started tending bar with him. Now let me tell you, there's a lot of characters in Chicago, but Tace was the biggest. One night we were working, and this couple was at the bar, and they were hugging and kissing each other. And Tace grabbed a flashlight he kept above the bar and just shined it right on the couple, and says, hey, I don't drink in your bedroom, go make out in my bar. Tace was pretty much fearless. He particularly didn't like clowns. So one afternoon, a busload of clowns left in a Yahtzee's on a pub crawl. And the clowns come rolling in, and they weren't there 10 minutes until they started bothering the customers. So Tace kindly asked them to leave, and, well, they didn't move. So Tace started using his body as like an army to, you know, try to get him to go towards the door. Well, next thing you know, there's rubber noses, big floppy shoes, wigs flying all through the bar, and there's a clown brawl just breaks out. So about after 20 minutes, the clowns leave, the staff, we're all catching our breath, and Tace was very, very unhappy. So then one of the doormen come up behind Tace and tap him on the shoulder and say, you know, Tace, do you need anything? And as Tace turned to reply, because our doorman was wearing a big red rubber shirt. And the only words out of Tace's mouth were, that's not funny. Tace, he's a very, very kind-hearted person. He'd go to Sox games, and he would frequently go to all the vendors that had the cotton candy and the licorice strips, buy all of them, and then hand those out to the kids around sitting near him. That was Tace. And he was a huge Sox fan working in Wrigleyville, and he'd kind of stick it to the Cub fans by wearing the opposing team's hat and jerseys while tending bar on home game days. So, and Tace had a very close groups of friends that would always, you know, hang out. One group, we'd always go on trips together, and Major League Baseball games were some of those favorite trips. We attended a game in Arizona where our friends were able to get the pool out in right field. And about 35 of us were staying at this hotel in Arizona. Well, at the same time, there were a number of professional wrestlers also staying at the same hotel for a convention. So our bunch was gathered in the lobby. We're waiting, waiting on taste. And then also waiting in the lobby are these 100 or so people ready to go to this convention and see their favorite wrestler. Well, all of a sudden the elevator doors open up and here's Taste, larger than life. And one of our friends, Seth, yells out, "Hey, there's Tasty Freeze," really loud. These people that were waiting in line thought he was a wrestler. Ran up, and he's standing there, and he obliged each one of them, started signing off. He was that bad. And then we took another trip. We like to all go to New Orleans. So, and Taste, he was up for anything. One night he wanted to ride a mechanical bull in his club. I'll just leave that one to your imagination. Just watching him try to get on the bull. And another trick he liked was getting your room number and charging things to your room. You were curious about when you were getting ready to leave. These are just a couple stories. I go, you ask the person sitting next to you, and they'll have one too. I go, I'll miss my good friend. I will think of him often. Always share some memories. Thank you.
I don't know, can you top that? Oh my. I think Mike, who is a cousin, is going to come and share also with us.
It's going to be hard to top that. And Bobby asked me to say a few words. It's hard to say. Excuse me, if I back up a little bit. Say a few words about such a big guy. That big personality, like Dan said. He'd do anything for the guy. Like Pastor mentioned, he knew a guy. If he didn't know a guy, he knew a guy who knew a guy. Very generous, like Dan said. Always had his wallet out, never bashful of pulling it out. Always had a lot of cash. Big life, big plans. Like Dan said, ball games, Vegas, a lot of travel. He was ordained, I guess, in some fashion. Anybody here got married by Taste? Raise your hand. I guess they didn't make it. The big bus trip with his mom, I know that was a big deal for him and her. Had a big bucket list. We got him some tickets to the Iron Bowl, but I came down. Had dinner, one of our favorite places. And he talked a lot that night. I remember Dan, you probably remember, about how he was so happy with his life. And he wasn't a suburban type of guy, picket fence, little cottage in